Join Dalton and Jacob as they discuss the ever-changing world of trading card games. TCG Buzz starts now.
What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 13 of TCG Buzz here. This is your boy Dalton, and I'm here with Jacob.
Yo, hey, and we got someone else with us today.
We do. You might know him from the Turbo Button Update or the Turbo Button Show. It's Darien.
He's a member of Gaming Buzz. Just wanted to throw that out. He and I do a lot of work together there. And he was on a previous episode, our episode, Weiss Schwarz Sucks, one of our most controversial episodes.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was very fun.
So, hi, Darien.
Howdy. How's everybody today?
Doing pretty good.
I'm pretty energized today, and I'm ready to spit a little bit of fire.
I'm just going to start this off with a disclaimer real quick for you guys. I was not given the okay to swear in this episode, but if something slips, I just like to say I'm sorry beforehand. But, you know, this is going to be a nice episode. That's all I got to say. It's going to be nice. It's going to be lit, guys. It's going to be lit.
All right, would you like me to explain what we're talking about? Because I've got the story for this one.
Yeah, start us off with the story on why we come back with, but Weiss Schwarz does suck.
I really hope we actually do make that the title.
I hope so. If we don't,
hope
it's going to
so.
be horrible.
All right, about a week ago.
I
knew it. I knew it as soon as the words came out of my mouth. I'm like, no, he's going to do it. I was looking on the YouTubes. I was on YouTube. I was looking for a video to watch. And I saw a video in my recommended videos called Weiss Schwarz Doesn't Suck.
Oh, that's a very specific name.
It's a very specific name and kind of weirdly phrased like if it was a one-off video. Then I'm like, hey, you know, this video's title is kind of similar to our video.
Let's check this out.
Sucks.
Yeah,
Is this actually a reaction to our video? This must be new. It must be from today. If it is, I click on it. Sure enough, it is. And it's from over a month ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
What took them so long?
I guess they uploaded it shortly after we uploaded our first video, which if you guys have not watched that or listened to the audio version of that podcast episode, you guys really should. It's a lot of fun.
You should. And listen to it more than they obviously did.
So these guys, what are their names?
Tier 1. Oh, I mean Tier 1 TCG. My bad.
Tier 1 TCG. They made a response video shortly after we made our first podcast episode on this subject. And first, let's start with the fact that they didn't tell us they were making this. They didn't tell us after the fact. They didn't send us a link saying, hey, you know, we did this. Mm-hmm. We had no idea that this happened until I found it completely by chance.
Yeah, it's a little rude not to tell us if you do something that's based on our work.
And also just a bit of YouTube etiquette for you guys. I'm talking directly to Tier 1 TCG if they watch this video.
More like Tier 10. Shit.
Bit of YouTube etiquette. If you make a video reacting to someone's video, at least link the original in your description.
Yes, please. It's
even though it isn't the recommended.
Yeah. But you think if, you know, you're trying to say, here's why these people are wrong, you know, you might want to tell your viewers, your fans, what we said in the first place.
What, the whole, 50 of them?
Mm-hmm.
Sheesh. But
so,
yes,
I guess we're just going to talk about some of the things they addressed from our original video. You really shouldn't be watching this unless you watched our first video, then theirs, and now this one, which will be the best of the three.
Let's be fair. If you watch ours, can somehow suffer through theirs, then make it to this one. Let's be fair here. Let's be fair.
I'm all for, you know, everyone on the internet, and I love supporting other content creators, but I basically had to make watching their entire video homework for myself.
Ooh.
And for you guys too.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I didn't make it homework for myself because if I made it homework, it would never get done.
That's true. It was kind of hard to watch through the full thing. They were kind of all over the place with what they're saying, making our response kind of hard to organize, and it was just hard to watch because they They like to talk a lot at once. So fair warning, if you're going to check that video out, we will link it in the show notes for this episode because that's the polite thing to do.
Yes.
So you guys can check it out with fair warning. And the other thing is we like to keep our show, PG-13-ish,
Try.
And we try.
Hopefully.
Theirs is not. Within the first minute, it immediately is not.
Hence why I tried to get approval to swear in this episode, but
We're smarter than them.
We might be smarter, but god damn it if I'm not ghettoer than them. I want to bring in the real Dalton. I don't want the TCG Dalton here right now.
We should talk about, how their video starts. So their video immediately starts with them talking about card sizes.
Right.
So they were saying I guess we said that because Vanguard cards are smaller than Weiss Schwarz cards, Weiss Schwarz is a game for only children, and that Vanguard's an adult game, and they got really triggered because of it.
If you throw tantrums, it is a game for kids.
# triggered. But what we were saying, it's like something in Japan, because typically smaller cards indicate a harder game to actually understand and to play. But I've slowly seen Japan kind of move away from it because Luck and Logic is a fairly complicated game and it's standard size. So that already kind of disclaims that.
It has nothing to do with who can or can't play it. It's just a indicator in Japanese culture whether a game is suitable for people who are younger than, say, 16.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if they can even learn to play it, or if it's too complicated. That's not a diss towards Weiss Schwarz.
No.
All of us really like Buddy Fight here. It's my favorite game. Dalton, it's probably one of your favorites too.
It's probably, but Luck and Logic has come in, and
it's also really good. But we're not saying Weiss Schwarz is bad because it has bigger cards. My favorite card game in the world has bigger cards. So why did they spend 5 minutes insulting us for saying that and insulting the card games?
Bringing body parts into the equation, too. That's just not right.
No.
Yeah, talking about dick about that.
Come on, dude.
Fuck, man. Sorry, I couldn't hold it in much longer.
We'll see what happens. We'll see if that's edited out.
I tried to mute, but I think I only got one.
It's really interesting that one of their major points throughout their video is, hey, the Weiss Schwarz community isn't a really, really big group of dicks. And
yes.
They kind of proved themselves wrong within the first 2 minutes of their video.
Well,
2 minutes. I'd say first 30 seconds, but that's just me.
That was the longest adult tantrum I've heard in my life.
Yes. And speaking about the whole Weiss Schwarz communities being basically dicks and so forth, there was someone who made a comment who mentioned that they watched our video and theirs.
They did their homework.
They knew what they were doing. I believe their name is Zertro. Sorry if I freaking
shout
messed
out
that up.
Zitro?
Shout out to you. Zitro.
You tell us how to pronounce it.
Yeah, if we pronounced it wrong, we're sorry.
Shout out to you. Your comments, I read through the comment section, as I know you guys did, and your comment was very smart.
Yes.
Thorough.
Very intelligent. Very intelligent. Basically just saying yeah, you just prove them right on how big of assholes you are. So thanks, guys, for proving us right on how horrible the community is for Weiss Schwarz. Even though I don't like to believe it is, I'm pretty sure there are nice people in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there are quite a few.
You see, when we're mentioning this stuff about communities or our opinions on things, nothing is definite.
It's just a stereotype.
It's saying that on average, compared to other card game communities, the Weiss Schwarz community is a little bit more toxic. A little bit. So that's just something to talk about is, hey, you don't fight fire with fire. You don't say, hey, these guys said some bad things about my game. I'm going to say even more bad things. That's not how you do it, right?
Not how you do it. No, it's not. Darren, do you have anything on this? You've been a little bit quiet, but let's see what you got on this.
I just agree with you guys. You don't try to solve your problems with toxicity.
I'll try to stay away from that Thanks for the reminder.
They did actually counter a few of the things we said in our original video and actually offer up counterpoints that made sense. But the issue was they were covered in a lot of not useful information. So it was a bit hard picking out what their actual points were. But I tried my best, and we have sheets of paper in front of us with notes on them that I created.
We got
Thanks, Jacob.
Trying to decipher their video. So we're going to go over some of that. So I'm going to read them off this list, and we're just going to take a stab at each one of these and discuss our thoughts with we were right originally, if maybe we were wrong, because we're not perfect, right?
No.
Dalton thinks he is, but we're not perfect.
Yeah.
He's near human
am
perfection.
Perfect. I am God, I like to say sometimes.
It's like he's near human perfection, but...
So one interesting point was that in our original video, I especially was bringing up that I had some problems with the Weiss Schwarz community, especially at tournaments and events. Things like them coming up to you and asking if you have trades, and then you say, no, I don't have anything for this, and then them immediately walking off, not even saying hi. You know, there's no hello. It's just you got trades for this, and then gone.
Yep. And even if you say did have some cards, because I think at the time I might have had like maybe one pack worth of Weiss Schwarz for Log Horizon, but nobody ran Log Horizon there, so it was like, it's Log Horizon, crap, we don't need this, bye. I don't.
See you later.
And I also mentioned how it was kind of sleazy because I noticed a lot of people walking, especially at the last Spring Fest I attended. Obviously, not all tournaments are the same, but I noticed deck peeking, a lot of it.
What are you playing?
Deck peeking.
I want to counter you guys.
Want to counter?
Yeah.
And counter.
But I want to know your deck first so I can build.
Their argument, we said, hey, we notice a lot of deck peeking in the community and people trying to look at other people's deck lists and decks before tournaments and doing it in a really sleazy, dishonest way. And, obviously that's not entirely just Weiss Schwarz. It happens in every game, but I noticed a lot of it in Weiss Schwarz.
Mm-hmm.
And their response to that seems, I'm not going to say it definitely was anything because, they didn't do the best job explaining it, but it seems like their response was, well, that's not really effective.
Right.
Here's
Well, it kind of leads into another point. Autoplay.
Well, real quick, here's the thing. Just because something doesn't work doesn't mean it's not wrong.
It's a little rude.
It's like saying, oh, well, I stacked my deck and I still lost, therefore it was okay that I stacked my deck.
No. No.
Exactly. Like,
you're acting like Kaiba when he was about to lose to Yugi. He's like, if you beat me, I'll jump off. Like, no. Kind of like do that.
Just because the outcome might be the same doesn't mean the means to the end aren't necessarily better or worse. And in this case, you know what? They are worse. Don't look at other people's decks. Don't try and sneak peeks at people's decks and then immediately put cards in your deck to counter what they're playing. That's just rude.
Not just rude. It just means you have like no confidence in yourself to actually use your skill if there is skill in Weiss Schwarz.
If you need to do that in order to win a match or win a tournament, you don't deserve to win the tournament. Right, Darien?
Right, because if you can't just go alone on your deck to say, hey, my deck is a deck that's worthy of getting to the top without having to be like, okay, what is that person playing? Okay, what are the cards I have to have in my deck? How can I stack cards so if I shuffle them, they stay the same? It's one of those things that makes me cringe a little bit.
So Dalton kind of brought it up earlier, and then I interrupted him. But autoplay. And this is something we talked about in our episode, they talked about in their episode, and Dalton and I have spent several hours talking about SIDS. But this is important. We talked about how Weiss Schwarz seems to be very auto-heavy, where you build the deck, you shuffle it, you draw your cards, and the deck runs itself.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't very much choice or strategy. It's just play what you play. There's a clear solution to what should be played.
Well, I have kind of a counter argument for that because it's a little bit of micromanaging. It's like you have your level up or whatever zone it is at the bottom. Level? I always kind of forget that.
I don't know.
I've been playing too many other card games recently.
Yeah, so am I.
Too many good ones. Yeah.
And you want to choose a card that you don't really want to use anymore, so you can discard the rest. So when you have to do a refresh, so there is a little bit of choice when it comes to what cards do I need, what cards should I have in my level, what should I have. But yeah, it is quite auto heavy with a few decision making points.
Now, the way they addressed this was it seems like they referred to specific decks that were very auto heavy, and then they tried to say there are other decks that aren't, which that's a fair argument. And their biggest point with that seemed to be that happens in every card game. Well, once again, like we're talking with the community, it's all about averages, right?
Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
And I find that on average, those decks that are autopilot are more common and more frequently seen in Weiss Schwarz than in other card games.
Yeah, just because it happens to be their meta.
So I'm not saying that all Weiss Schwarz decks are autoplay. There's no skill involved. There's no blah, blah, blah.
It's
I'm
the
just saying
deck building game.
It's common that it happens that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, you
I
buy your cards, you build your deck, see how well it runs.
For some decks.
Yeah,
For all of them.
right. For a lot of them, though.
Right. So that was another point they made. Do you guys want to take it over? You got my notes too. What was another point they made that you guys want to counter?
They made a point about pricing. And we might have to go to the back side of our notes here.
Yes, this was fun for me.
There's going to be a lot of math into this. There's going to be a lot of math into this.
If you guys don't know, I really like math, which I'm kind of ashamed to say that, but I love
Number file.
numbers and statistics and stuff like that. I use that to my advantage today. And I have almost the backside of our page of notes is almost all numbers, because one of probably the biggest counter to our first episode, both in their video and in the comment section of our video, also a fascinating read. There are some great comments there.
Way more comments than their video, but
Yep.
But is that we complained about pack prices expensive and just cards being expensive for one.
Oh, yes.
Their response, and the response of several people in our comment section, was it's not that expensive if you buy boxes. And that's true for all card
yeah.
games.
it's true for all card games.
You save money when you buy in bulk.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to go deeper.
Oh, we went deeper. All right.
So what I did was I calculated the per card cost of every major card game I could think of to find out if they were more expensive or less expensive than Weiss Schwarz. So the way I did it was I took an average booster set, something recent, at an average price. I actually looked at several different sources for pricing. I looked at TCG Player. I looked at several different card game websites. I looked at eBay. I looked at Amazon. I all put these into my equation, if you want to call it that, to figure out a fair price for a booster box. So some people always disagree with the numbers like I priced a booster box at, but these are pretty fair numbers.
I think they're fair. I watched
Yeah.
you, and you basically grab the lowest one and so forth, and then you grab some more expensive ones from different card games to see if we can get in close enough to it.
All right.
So let's start off with the game in questioning.
Yeah.
Weiss Schwarz.
So Weiss Schwarz, I did two separate things. I valued a main booster set and an extra booster. So a main booster set box, I valued an average price of $66. This is much lower than an actual average because I didn't factor in things that were like out of print and extremely expensive. But just looking at things like the Disgaea 2016 set and sets like that. and
Not
saying,
compatible
oh,
with the
yeah,
old sets.
66 bucks. This is USD, by the way, for our international viewers. $66 for a box. That's a pretty fair price. Then I looked at the number of cards in that box. So there are 20 packs of cards with 8 cards per pack. That comes out to 160 cards. So what I did was I took $66 and I divided it by 160 to figure out how much money you're paying for each individual card. That's not saying they're worth that much.
Too much.
But the total price per single card of Weiss Schwarz from a main booster set is 41 cents.
Or
So almost 50 cents a card.
almost 50 cents. Jeez.
Now the extra boosters.
Ooh.
Extra boosters were kind of difficult to price because there aren't as many of them to go off of. But the average price I got from weighing in everything was $36. There are a couple
Jeez.
that were down to like 33, but on average there are 36 to 38.
Okay.
So I took 36, a pretty fair number.
Kind of a median price.
And there are 36 cards per box.
Well, we already know where that's going. That's
you don't
a
have to
whole
do much
dollar.
math there.
So you're saying
$1 per card.
That
Wow.
that's not even worth like trying to get that, honestly.
so you basically just
You're paying $36 for each card you're about to get in the box.
That's pretty crazy.
hopefully you pull a signature card and make it all back.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got to value it out based off of rarities too, but that's going too deep because I could spend 600 hours explaining that stuff. But this is just to give an example. But now that we've got their numbers, we need to compare them. I can right now tell you off the bat, nothing I compared to got up to that $1 per card mark. That's insane.
They were usually way lower.
All right, so buddy fight.
Yeah, I think I got this one. I think about cheapest we found was about $57. There's 30 packs per box and 5 cards per pack. We came out to a total of 38 cents per card.
Mm-hmm.
So,
No, these numbers are rounded up to the highest cent.
So already we're about 3 cents cheaper than a normal box for Weiss Schwarz.
And Vanguard main booster sets are the exact same thing, though I value them slightly cheaper just because
there's
mainly
a little bit
because
more.
there's more of a, like different places you can buy them from.
Right.
That kind of impacts it. So they ended up being 37 cents.
37.
Both cheaper than a main booster set of Weiss.
And it's all made by the same people, Bushiroad.
So out of curiosity, the one I really wanted to check was a clan booster or technical booster for Vanguard. These are the replacement for extra boosters.
Yep.
And they're in kind of similar form factors to a extra booster from Weiss Schwarz. So I wanted to compare their price per card to see if they'd get close.
Okay.
And
No.
12 packs per box, 7 cards per pack. Comes out to 84 cards in a box, right?
Yeah.
For about $35.
Decent.
41 cents per card.
More cards.
So that is on par with a main booster set of Weiss Schwarz. And people do complain about the per card cost being too much for clan boosters.
Well, if they're complaining about 41 cents for a clan booster, they don't want to join Weiss. Ooh.
All right, Pokemon.
Pokemon. Ooh.
Pokemon is kind of a complicated one because it's well known that there is a lot of filler in Pokemon.
Lots of filler.
Okay, so yes, the per card cost is going to be a lot less than other games, but in all fairness, that's because a lot of it is garbage.
Why, yes, I'd like a lick of tongue.
So a box is 36 packs, 10 cards per pack. Okay, 360 cards, easy math. I valued at $89.
89?
Yep, $89 for a box.
Okay.
And what it was that per card cost, Dalton?
Well, I'm going to say around a quarter.
Exactly a quarter. Wow.
Holy smokes. 25 whole cents. Like, dang, Weiss Schwarz.
That's a fourth of an extra booster card from Weiss Schwarz.
Wow.
And those boxes tend to be way more expensive than a lot of card games.
So next is Yu-Gi-Oh, which is pretty standard, right? What is it? 9 cards per pack, 24 packs per box. I was actually surprised with Yu-Gi-Oh because I found boxes for about 60. It's interesting because Pokemon boxes, I really had to only look at what's current because it seemed like with Pokemon, as soon as a set like leaves printing, it skyrockets in price.
Oh.
So I only looked at very, very new stuff. Whereas Yu-Gi-Oh, the opposite was true. They were worth a lot when they're in as the newest set or like the second newest set, and then as soon as they got past that point, they plummeted in price.
Oh, that's definitely different.
So invest if you have a Pokemon box, keep it forever and never open it. If you have a Yu-Gi-Oh box, get that open right away. But I'm surprised. I looked at newer sets. I valued a box at $60. And you know what? The game's pretty budget friendly.
27 cents.
27 cents. That's right
Per card.
where Pokemon is. And you know what? A lot less filler. I'd
Way
say.
less filler.
Yes. A lot of useful stuff in your packs. So I was quite impressed by Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Good job at being budget friendly.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, let's get into the big boss. Let's pave the way 4 TCGs with Magic.
Magic the Gathering, the game that all other card games wish they could be.
Yes.
Darien, why don't you do this one?
All right, so in a booster box, you have 36 packs with 15 cards per pack. That sounds pretty hefty. 540 cards. Do the math. 16 cents per card.
16 cents.
16.
That is the lowest we got out of anything I tried.
Mm-hmm.
16 cents per box. Or per box. Wow, I'd love that.
16 cents per box, man. We're going
16
back
cents
into
per
Magic.
card.
Wow.
No, that's like,
crazy.
If it was 16 cents per box, it would be like Kaijudo.
What's Kaijudo?
All right. Now, time to agree with them a little bit.
Just to be
Just to be fair, I looked at everything, and I knew there was one example where, yes, it would be more expensive than Weiss Schwarz. I looked at Luck and Logic. I knew for a fact Luck and Logic would be more. Right?
Yeah.
So, Luck and Logic,
But how much more?
7 cards per pack, 20 packs per box. So 1 card less per pack than Weiss Schwarz. Same number of packs. You're getting less cards per box.
All right.
A little bit cheaper, too.
$60 per box. I could find some a bit lower, like if I really stretched to 58, but I didn't feel that was fair.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to go with the most common prices here.
So I got 43 cents per card.
43. So
2 cents more per card than Weiss Schwarz.
The game is so new, though.
That's the thing. The game is new. That is the one argument against, hey, it's more expensive. The game's still really new, and there aren't very many distributors who have picked it up yet, which means the less distributors you have, the less competition you have, meaning the more they can charge.
You can say,
and also, to be fair, with the first set of Luck and Logic to be a limited print, that doesn't help either. So people who decide to hang on can actually charge more for their boxes, too.
hey, I still have the first set. I'll charge you $80 for it.
Aye.
Oh, that's
See, that's the thing. You know, a year from now, if we look back at this, Luck and Logic might not be as expensive. Whereas Weiss Schwarz has been going on for a couple years, and its prices stayed pretty much.
a couple of years. I mean, quite a few.
All right, so that's all the math there, but that's something I wanted to talk about with you guys. You know, that's actual evidence that Weiss Schwarz, compared to other card games, is in fact more expensive. That's not saying it's bad. That's just saying you really need to know what you're investing in when you get into it, because every single time you crack a box, every single time you buy a pack, every single time you buy a single, that has to be put into consideration. Because if it costs someone, say you're buying singles only, another argument is, oh, I only buy singles, so it's okay. But if the person you're buying the singles from had to spend more on their box, you're going to have to spend more on the singles so they can make back their money.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to really keep in consideration. It's not like a nail in the coffin for Weiss Schwarz.
Mm-hmm.
You know, honestly, considering the fact that Bushiroad has to share revenue with all these different animes, you know, all the owners of these animes that they license, it's not that bad price-wise. Like, it could be a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
But for someone who loves card games, and say you're into several, it is something that can turn some people away from Weiss Schwarz, right?
It turned
Yes.
me away from it for sure.
I barely get into it because just how it's not really that much of an investment.
So, Dalton,
Yes.
we've been talking price. Now's the perfect time to address the elephant in the room.
Elephant.
All right, this one's on you, dude.
All right.
All right,
All
you
right.
know what I'm talking about.
Ugh, let me just stretch out a little bit here. Oh, hit the mic. So I brought up the price of packs at our local card shop. Hint, we are in Green Bay, not Chicago. Our taxes are cheaper, not more expensive. And I think they're out in LA or something like that.
Somewhere in California.
Somewhere in Cali.
They didn't say specifically, I don't believe.
Somewhere in Cali. But their taxes are going to be slightly more than in Green Bay here.
High cost of living.
And I brought up the fact that Log Horizon, which happens to be probably one of the more expensive,
It is
that's
an
out
extra
there.
booster,
It is an extra booster. Per pack was about $10.
which is a little higher. It was actually, what, 8?
Like
$8.
$8.90 something, basically $9.
I think it was actually like $7.90 something.
No, it was actually $8.90 something.
At a game store. it was just a comment Dalton was throwing out, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, hey, just an example of something that I paid a lot of money for because it was expensive. But that was at a local game store that, takes a cut of profits and they mark things up. And yeah, that is a lot for a single pack of cards.
Yes.
And sure, I could buy singles, but I don't like doing that. I like being at the local card shops. I like being at the mom and pop stores because it's its own community in itself.
Yeah.
You kind of like have the friends you have there, and then you have your friends outside of there. It's kind of like a second job in a sense. So hence why I would rather buy packs or boxes there and open them there. Hence why the internet's cool and all, but like I don't want to do that. I want to be in store and open it with people around who are like, oh snap, I want this card. Have instant trade stuff.
You like
It's
the
that.
people hovering.
I like the hovering. I like, especially with my luck and pulling cards. Whew.
Plus, you're supporting a local business. But
Yeah.
Supporting a local business. I like doing that too. I like supporting the locals.
So yeah, $8-9 for a pack of cards was pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just
It was crazy. I mean, but even if you look online, that particular set, a single pack still like online, which is normally really a lot cheaper, was still like $5.25, $5.50. That's still a lot. for a pack.
Whoa. Wait, 5.25 or 5 or 25? You got me a little confused on that.
$5.25
Okay,
or
okay.
to like $5.50.
I was about to say I'm like 5 or 20. Whoa, that's a huge jump. That's a huge jump.
Oh my.
So, yeah, Dalton, you probably could have explained that one a little better.
I probably
But-
could have, but like you would think like, oh, maybe they want to be more local than automatically harping like just get it from the internet, man. I was like, well, that's not what I like to do.
The internet does not provide a facility for you to play games at.
And this is one of the other things that we talked about in the comments of our original video with people who mentioned the same thing. So, problem solved. We can move on from that one, right?
I think we can move on from that one.
All right. What do you guys want to talk about next? I've got this big whole list.
Let's talk about trading.
Trade.
I like to talk about trading and Weiss Schwarz.
Oh, trading took up, 10, 15 minutes of our original video? We'll keep it a little shorter than that.
Hey, Jacob, what do you play?
I play Attack on Titan.
Well, I don't have Dalton, what do you play?
Log Horizon.
I'll see you guys later.
Well, there you go. That's trading.
Yep. That's trading in Weiss Schwarz. And they even confirmed that in their video, which I don't know if they intentionally did or not. If you guys did, cool. Thanks for agreeing with us on something that they said, hey, you can trade, but really only with people who buy the same exact set as you.
Which isn't really cool because, like, sure, I'm going to lean on Buddy Fight on this one just because Buddy Fight, well, I can even get into Vanguard too with the main booster set, but, like, it supports kind of everything where Weiss Schwarz is, all right, new anime or new game, we're going to make this set, boom. And people are like, oh, this is my favorite anime or this is my favorite game. I'm going to buy that.
The same thing's true for Yu-Gi-Oh! What was that booster set you were buying up for Blue Eye stuff, and you pulled some Luna Light stuff? And I
Exactly,
looked at
like
them and I'm like,
Shining Victories.
yeah, I'm
But
like, oh,
the thing with that is, sure, that it's going to be reintroducing Blue Eye support and so forth, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Just can't go off just doing that. They're going to need other stuff to make a nice set.
and you know what happened with that? We talked about this in our last podcast episode. Check that out. Look at that.
It's episode
Look at that
12.
plug I did.
Shameless, man.
I know, right? But Dalton bought some boxes of Shining Victories, right?
Yes.
For Blue Eye stuff, and there was Luna Light stuff in it, right? And I saw that, and I saw, oh, that looks cool. I want to get some of that for that. And look at that. You got me back into Yu-Gi-Oh!
Bada bing, bada boom.
That wouldn't have happened if it was a set with just Blue Eyes. So
Right.
Exactly. It would have been like, oh, Blue Eyes. Is there anything else? No? Okay.
All right.
Bye.
And then I would have carried on my way playing Luck and Logic in the corner of the game store.
Yeah, it's kind of smart to include other things in your main sets that you release.
Like, it could even be something that Bushiroad owns, like release like little added things into it to give it a little bit more variety.
Right.
Like they could, if they wanted to, because they could, because Card Fight, Vanguard, Buddy Fight, and Luck and Logic both have all three have their own animes, and they can probably do something to have like a little crossover thing into
Right.
Weiss Schwarz.
But then there's those people that are going to be like, oh, I bought a Hatsune Miku set, so I only want Miku stuff.
And you have
It's
that.
catch-22, but
Also, I this isn't necessarily an insult to Tier 1 TCG, but they did spend like 5 minutes of that video arguing whose waifu was better, right? That's Weiss Schwarz in a nutshell.
Oh yeah, I forgot about.
But you know what? I do that too all the time, so I get that, which is why I'm saying it's not necessarily an insult to them. I just found that funny, like they're talking about that and like how their waifus are better. I'm like, holy cow, that's all of Weiss Schwarz. My waifu's better than yours.
pretty much. Or husbando, or whatever you want to call those things. And
But what if you just are in it for the anime?
then go in it for that.
Until they come out with Dragon Quest VIII for Weiss Schwarz, it will always be for the anime.
Now, one interesting thing I saw, or I guess I heard because they don't do video.
True.
I heard in their video, they talked about our comments about how the art in Weiss Schwarz tends to be boring.
Yeah.
Kind of a lot of stock images and a lot of repeated backgrounds and stuff like that.
Not very much going on.
You know what? They brought up an actual good point.
Wait,
I'm impressed.
I might have fallen asleep by that point. I did try to watch it and do other things. I might have fallen asleep.
Their argument, which honestly, I'll admit, this wasn't something I thought about. You have to pay royalties when you get someone to illustrate a card for you. Say it's Vanguard and you want a brand new Blaster Blade. Well, someone has to draw that, right?
Mhm.
And they get paid for that. Whereas if they just say, hey, we've got the rights to this anime, let's take this screenshot, Photoshop it a little bit, put it on a card, they don't have to pay those royalties, right?
Yeah.
Right. That makes
That
sense.
actually makes the cards cheaper.
Mm.
That's a good point.
Good
Thank
job,
you.
Bushiroad.
Thank you for giving us a good argument against something we said. And you know what? I kind of agree with you. I think that's a good point. But I still would like to see more illustrated art because you know what? It is the lazy way to go. It might be a good thing for some cards and, to save a little bit of money. But also if there's someone new into getting into a card game, one of the big reasons people like to get into a card game is because of card art.
Yep. Definitely why I do it.
Yeah, I love card art.
So that's just something to think about. That's my counter argument to their counter argument.
Yeah, we just counted your counter like this is Yu-Gi-Oh, boy.
But you know what? I do kind of agree with them on that.
All right, so we talked about that. Let's see. We already talked about the community and how much that still sucks, and let's be honest, it does.
All right, so I think there are really only two things left that I'd like to do. Okay?
And what's that?
One, I'd like to talk about my main problem with their video.
Okay.
I think you guys know what I'm talking about.
Maybe.
Hopefully. Back of the page. Back of the page. And number two, something that I don't think we did enough of in our original video. We didn't necessarily insult Weiss Schwarz. We talked about issues we had, but it was meant to be constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Because something that they might have missed in the original video is I talked about how, hey, the only reason we are talking about these things because we want to see the game better. But I forgot part 2 of constructive criticism, and that's offering suggestions for change.
Nah.
Yep.
So that's something I want us to do too. But first, the bad thing.
The bad thing?
The bad thing.
All right. Let's
All
talk
right.
About the bad thing.
Let's talk about the only point in the entire video where I actually got annoyed. Triggered.
I was
sure.
triggered.
Angry.
I was triggered.
Triggered. And it was right towards the end of their video.
The little sign off, right?
Towards their sign off, yes. They talked about how, hey, don't hate on other card games, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? That's a good message. Don't
Yep.
hate on other card
Good
games.
message.
And then they immediately started talking about luck and logic and saying some things that I won't say on this show just because that's not me. They said some really offensive things right after that fact. 1, not cool. 2, hypocritical. You can't say don't insult other card games because you don't like them and then immediately do that.
It's very hard for me to not get triggered by this. I'm going to mute myself for...
All right, Darien, comments. Come on.
I did find that a little bit out of place to just be like, oh yeah, don't hate card games because it's not the right thing to do. Just enjoy the game you enjoy. But your card game sucks.
Throughout their entire video, there were tones of hating on Vanguard players. They flat out said that every single person who plays Buddy Fight is stupid or mentally disabled.
That's a little bit.
I got the list. I got the list here. I got the list.
Like,
Buddy Fight, mentally ill or stupid, Vanguard, small male reproductive systems, Luck and Logic,
Luck and Logic, overly complicated and stupid because of it.
overly complicated.
Come on, guys.
Yes, it's complicated, but that's sometimes what you need to do. And I feel it's like a great step for Bushi. But that's besides the point.
Think about how triggered they'll get if they actually watch this video and they hear this comment from me right now. I've said this before at least twice in our podcast episodes that I know of. And this is a quote that you can put down in any comments from me. I truly, truly feel Luck and Logic is Bushiroad redoing Weiss Schwarz, but better.
Yeah.
And Dalton counters this with, what the wrong with you, bruh?
I feel like they took some elements from Weiss Schwarz that did succeed, taking out all of the things people find lackluster and trying to work on a new game using the things that worked and not the things that didn't work.
And it is fun.
This is all I'm going to say. This is all I'm going to say about what Bushiroad games are the best and which ones aren't. Let's just say the best ones have something to say before they start their games.
Okay. Oh, geez, I've heard this before.
Oh, does Weiss Schwarz have? Oh, they don't? Well,
Raise the flag. Stand up, Vanguard.
judge your logic.
Weiss Schwarz. It's just a funny thing to note. Weiss Schwarz is the only English-released Bushiroad game that doesn't have a catchphrase.
It's just,
Maybe this should. So
let's go.
Let's move on then to that whole suggestions thing, right?
Suggestions, yes.
First of all, get a catchphrase.
Get a
Yeah.
catchphrase, man. Like,
My waifu's better.
you guys got any good ones? And you got waifu's better.
Judge your waifus. Raise the body pillow.
Time to clock. I don't know. Come on. Oh,
Messing with my clock
all right.
because my waifu is too strong.
Any others? Maybe for something that you know is going to sell well, maybe look into doing the whole royalty thing and getting the artist to do new art.
Right. They mentioned one set. I'm sorry, I don't remember which it was. That was all illustrated art. I'll have to check that out, see if they did a good job with that. Hopefully. One thing you guys could do, the Weiss Schwarz community or Bushiroad, whoever. When a game gets too expensive, and the one I'm looking at right now is Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering at certain points in time got crazy expensive. It's still crazy expensive, but not as bad as.
Yeah, I was about to say, what are you talking about?
It's still like a serious competitive deck is in the 4 digits.
Some cards you need to set down a mortgage.
But the community saw that. It's true. The community saw that, and they figured out ways around that. And my favorite solution to that problem was Pauper, a game mode where you can only use basically common cards. You can't use those crazy expensive foily goodness, $150,000 cards.
Jacob's favorite kind of deck.
What about doing that for Weiss Schwarz? What about saying, hey, let's create a side league where you can only use cheap stuff, common stuff.
Use the crumbs.
All I would have to say is that might kill Weiss Schwarz. Let's be honest. Like, most of the time, your key cards are your waifus, and they're shiny.
I need my signature
and your
card.
Staples are expensive.
So, adding, like, say, because Magic has all its different forms. Like, you have Standard, you have Modern, you have Legacy. I think it's Legacy. and blah, blah, blah. They have so many different things, which is kind of cool since they're so much older and have so much stuff that they can do this with. But if you try doing that with Weiss, which might make it work, it might not work. It might just be like, oh, now this is exactly like Magic. Well, F this. Let's stop playing this game.
Well, give it a shot.
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
What-
Don't be afraid to experiment.
Variety is better than having nothing.
Right? And you might get more people into your card game this way. Like people who obviously don't want to spend this much or honestly can't spend this much because of how they are, but they still want to get into the card game. It makes it easier for them to get into the card games.
Another thing you could do, and you know what? Totally tell me I'm wrong on this, and you know what? If someone doesn't take my advice, I would not be offended, but if you've got some extra money lying around and like you're really big into Weiss Schwarz, but you've bought everything you need for your waifu set, just buy one box of some other set so you have something for trades. That way if someone walks up to you and says, hey, you got any Attack on Titan? Then you know what? You go, well, sure, I've got a little bit of it. And instead of making it about the trade, say, hey, you know, what's your name? How are you? How's it going?
Yeah, try to make a friend.
Friends.
Become friends. Be more friendly. That's really like...
Which is the best part about Buddy Fight.
Don't become
Besides
friendly.
the fact that you have a synonym to friends in the name.
Yeah.
It's like at the end of each match, you basically have a new friend and you guys immediately start either trading because either you get done really early or you can't because obviously the next round's trying to get done and so forth. But you've made a new friend and you've probably like joined their, like found their group of friends too and then making more friends. Like it's a domino effect in the friendship era.
Obviously, we're kind of biased on this, but I will say this. I've been a part of a lot of different card games, and I've been an active member of a lot of different card games communities. And Buddy Fight had the most friendly, welcoming community that I've ever seen in a card game. And that might be because, you know, the people who play it are a bit nuts. But it's a very welcoming community, and I like to see that. And other communities do so as well, but not as much. And when you have a card game that's a little bit more almost scary to get into, something like Weiss Schwarz or Magic the Gathering, the community needs to make an effort to make it more welcoming.
Right.
So that's my thought on that. Any other suggestions you guys have?
Well, we haven't hit everything.
All right.
I know this.
Okay, go ahead.
There is one.
Okay.
Something that I said that they kind of got a little ticked off. They got triggered on. About me saying decks are kind of filled with climaxes.
Nullify this damage.
I'm sorry. But the few matches that I played with Darien and I think with you, Jacob, it always seemed that when you guys were dealing your big damage to me, oh, climax, it nullify all that damage now. It just does nothing. It was like so perfect. You guys were getting so mad. I'm just like, it just happened.
Some people took that literally, as in you saying that a deck has like 30 climaxes in it. You're saying it feels like, right?
It feels like it. And honestly, sometimes it happens to be like, it almost seems that way. It's like, oh, I just managed to top deck a climax when you dealt damage.
When you're dealing 6 damage. I'm no expert on Weiss. I've played some of it, but I'm definitely never going to say I'm a competitive meta player. So I'm not the best person to say this. Here's an idea. Maybe try this. Always experiment with your card games, right?
Yes.
There are plenty of times, Magic the Gathering, I'm going to go back to it. There are plenty of times where fans said, hey, here's a problem in the current way we play this game. Here's my suggestion to fix it. And it turned into an official thing. EDH was one of them. Turned into an official thing, Commander.
Ah, yes.
So that kind of stuff's always popular, and it's something you can do. You can make your card game better. Here's my suggestion. Why don't we try a new way to play Weiss Schwarz where when you reveal that climax, you place that climax and one other card in your damage zone out of the game, right? Instead of
I say it'd be more like, say you reveal a climax, the climax stays in, I believe it's called the clock zone, in your clock, and it doesn't like just then it eradicates the rest, obviously, but then that card won't go into the drop. And like say you get 1, 2, and then climax, all that damage would stay, but then you wouldn't continue on any further. I think that would make it a little bit easier just because.
There are a lot of ways they can go about that and make it a little better with that. And also, if you're able to do that, either one of those suggestions, and it ends up with players taking, on average, more damage, it fixes another issue with the game. It's too long.
Yeah,
it's too long.
Like, when is this game done?
But once again, on average, a average game of Weiss Schwarz is too long.
It's about 45 minutes, wasn't it? Back at 35, 40.
It depends. I mean, you can obviously, especially if you have two competitive players who really know what they're doing, you can get a match done in 20, or even if it's really one-sided, you can get it done in 10 minutes.
Yep.
But on average, you're probably looking at 25, 30, 35 minutes.
Oh, please, if it's one-sided in buddy fight.
It's a minute. Which buddy fight sometimes is a bit short, and that's something you look at as you play those games. But I did notice, Weiss Schwarz too long. Fix it. Luck and Logic has the same problem, to be fair. Luck and Logic is also too long, but it's still new. It's going to develop and get faster as it grows.
But speaking of which, after this episode, we have a lot to talk about Luck and Logic. Luck and Logic, good game. Just by looking over this and everything that I scratched off and so forth, looks like we covered everything major that wasn't like repeating, which they did a lot of.
Yeah, I think we've covered all our bases.
Right.
Now a little bit of criticism I like to bring up.
Oh no.
About their episode. You guys need to get more organized. You need to be more like us. Like, we kind of like stop talking when one person's talking. You guys are just like talking over each other, basically like circle jerking and stuff. Like, you guys need to like chill.
Sounds like one microphone kind of deal.
Sounds like one mic, and like, sure, you might not have the money to actually get multiple mics like we kind of do, but then again, we don't have as many people as you do.
Right, you need to be more organized.
I would not say be more like us, because you know what? Everyone's got their own style.
Yeah, obviously keep your style.
But you know what? It was, even as an avid TCG player and someone who was directly involved in your video, it was hard for me to watch the entire thing because of the fact that you all talked at once. So just a tip for you guys. I mean, I hope that doesn't offend you, as I'm sure you guys hope they don't get offended.
Yeah,
just a suggestion.
It's kind of a rolling theme.
Or get offended. I'd like a little rivalry going on.
Now, if you guys would like, talking once again to Tier 1 TCG, if you guys want to continue this conversation and not make it a conversation of, hating everyone, but you want to have a genuine conversation with us, talk to us.
Yeah, just talk to us.
Yeah.
We don't bite.
Open invitation.
Open invitation. Hit us up on either our Twitters or anything like that. We'll link
Facebook.
We'll link that down in the description or show notes.
If you're on YouTube, leave us a comment. This goes for everyone, not just them. If you guys want to be a part of this conversation too, be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, find us on Facebook if you want. Friend us, send us messages and stuff. Surely I might get to you 3 days later, but
leave us a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. I love responding to comments. I think I responded to more comments in our original Weiss Schwarz video than I have in the entire rest of my life. There are a lot of comments, and that was one of the best things about doing that video, was there were so many different opinions, and we got to be a part of a bigger conversation. And
it was like a Bible was written in the comment section.
I hope that continues, honestly.
I do.
Incredibly fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we should thank Darien for being here for a second time, right, Dalton?
Numero dos. Congratulations, you've been on TCG Buzz 2 times now.
Yeah, seriously. There were a couple of people who were angry at us for our thoughts and comments, and thanks, Darien, for sticking with us through that sea of
fire,
sea of waifu hate.
Yeah, if you ever need me back, I'll be definitely more than likely able to come back on.
Especially if we're talking waifus.
Yeah, if we're talking Vanguard, waifus.
Well, also, if you want to leave in the comments suggestions for our next podcast, we've been kind of struggling. I feel like it took us a while to get this one out, but hey, if you have one that you think we should talk about, hit us up in the comments, tweet at us, DM us, do all the things to get our attention. and we will most likely get it done. Even if you have matches you want us to do. Even if you want us to Weiss Schwarz.
Yeah, if you want to see us fail to play Weiss Schwarz,
let us know. Also, we get back to comments as long as they're cohesive and actually we know what you're saying.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So please say something coherent.
Very coherent.
And have a nice day.
And have a
Yeah,
great
thank
day.
you.
I think we should say goodbye before we rant longer, huh?
Oh, I thought we were going to rant this episode.
Yeah, we're going to go like 6 hours of just us saying
hours.
an outro.
Yeah, I thought we were going to just talk for like 3 hours, break it up, and then like send them out randomly. Well, yep, that should wrap up our time here. We've talked about a lot. I feel like we defended ourselves well and kind of said F you to tier 1 because
Respectfully. We don't want them to hate us. I don't want anyone to hate us.
Yeah.
But
We just want friends.
we have valid opinions, and I hope our opinions are valid. That's for our viewers and fans to decide.
Every
Right.
opinion is valid. It just depends on how people take it. And
Right.
if you decide
Perspective.
to be triggered by it and all of a sudden go on your own little rant with your friends,
At least let us
Cool.
know.
Good for you.
let us know. So we
All
can-
of you. If you guys want to all send us videos of yourselves yelling at us,
Do it.
free to do so.
We'll try to respond to the most compelling ones.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm ready to go play some card games. So why don't we?
Most likely
sign
not
off?
Weiss Schwarz, but
Most likely not, but no promises.
yeah.
We will see you guys next time, right, Dalton?
Yeah, we'll see y'all next time. Remember, stay classy.
Bye.
We'll probably see me some other time.
Thanks for listening to TCG Buzz. New episodes can be found on tcgbuzz.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. For box openings, deck profiles, and more, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.